So would you just join me and welcome Mayor Ray Martinez?
Thank you very much. It's always a great time to talk to Timberline Church members. I love this. And I just want to share a little bit about the sanctity of life and what it means. You know, some of you know and some of you don't. I was raised in an orphanage till I was 5 years old, given up for adoption when I was 8 days old, and relinquished to a probation officer. Now, I'm probably the youngest kid around town that ever had a probation officer. But that's what they do at the state orphanage, and that orphanage shut down in 1972, and they kept kids from infancy to age 19. They processed over 17,000 kids during that time, so just in Colorado. So it's an amazing orphanage, and the snips and shots that I have and film clips of remembering the orphanage and what my stay was like taught me a lot of valuable lessons. You know, they say the first 5 years is your most formidable years, and I learned some value statements in there. One, that you accept everybody for who they are, regardless of their conditions, what their abilities or disabilities are. And I learned that because one lesson I learned is that in the orphanage, they would allow potential parents to check you out like a library book. Couldn't figure that one out. But they'd take you home for a couple of weeks and see if you were a perfect fit or not. And I could always remember riding in the front seat of the car and people making over me. And then coming back, I was riding in the back seat of the car and nobody talking to me. And I suddenly realized that for some reason or other, I couldn't put it in words, but I knew they didn't like me. And I'd go back running inside the orphanage after driving up this big front oval road, and I'd run inside and I'd used to tell myself, you know, I never want to leave this place again. This was home for me. And then I learned that, you know, we should accept people for who they are. That's what made my mayorship so much easier when I learned that valuable lesson. And the idea of how to share everything that you have, because nothing is yours in the orphanage. You don't have your own toy box. You don't have your own coat. I mean, you have tablesfuls of coats that you wear different every day. You know, I'd have 50 coats in my closets, the way I saw it. And you shared everything. And you learn not to stereotype people, because people used to look at us and they say, those are orphans. They didn't call us children of God. They said we were orphans. And then when I got adopted, my parents brought me to Fort Collins. They were hardworking parents. They both worked, and I remember figuring out, well, how do I attach myself to these people? And I remember them telling me one morning, they said, you know, we're your mom and we're your dad. And I thought, great, what's that? Because see, in an orphanage, you have matrons. You don't understand this concept about a mom and a dad. And I had to learn this through the practice, the way they lived, to define that. Because kids who are abused all their lives have a different definition of a mom and dad than the kids who are loved all their life. And so it really is based on how they behave. And I remember one time my dad, I was riding with him in his big deuce-and-a-half truck because he was a bricklayer, and we were driving down the road, and he made this big turn on an intersection, and all of a sudden the door flew open, the passenger door, and I went sliding out that truck. And you know, when you see blue sky, you're in trouble. And I remember my father, all of a sudden, he grabbed me by my ankle, grabbed my ankle, pulled me back in, tucked me under his shoulder and under his arm, and just held there, and he just kind of chuckled. And I thought, you know, this isn't very funny. And all of a sudden it snapped, and I realized what a dad is and what a mom is. And all of a sudden I wanted to do everything I could to be just like him. And they raised me with these certain values about working hard for a living. Even as a shoeshine boy, I learned how to hang on to a vision and hang on to a dream. As a shoeshine boy, one of the things I used to tell myself, I used to shine the mayor's shoes at Fort Collins. I used to tell myself, one of these days, I'm going to wear those shoes. And I did 3 times. I think that's miraculous. You see, I really believe that you shouldn't follow your dreams. Your dreams should follow you. You should be living those dreams and not waiting for them to come. And one of the dreams that I had is that I wanted to find my biological mother. And I wanted to find her fast. And all these years in police work, retiring as a police sergeant after 25 years, then becoming mayor, it started diminishing that hope. And I had it for the wrong reasons. My reasoning was I wanted to find her so I could, you know, let her know that, you know, you threw away the wrong kid. And I turned out okay. And all of a sudden my values changed. And all of a sudden I said, God, I just really, here's my real reason why I want to find him. I want to be able to tell my mother that life turned out great. She made the right decision. And I want to thank her for giving me life and not taking my life. And all of a sudden, things started unraveling. The records that I found, and all of a sudden it was, we call them coincidence that happened. I call them actually Godcidences. Then all of a sudden it's revealed, and I make this magical phone call on November 2nd, 2005 at 3 in the afternoon. Actually, it was about 3:14 in the afternoon. And she hung up on me 3 times. And I thought, you know what? It must be her. She's stubborn like me. And then we finally connected. And she called me the next day, and we bonded ourselves together, and she started telling me the whole story, and I understood why now. Now I understood the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. But I understood. You see, she was a victim of circumstances. She was violated against her will. And then when she gave me up and relinquished me, the people who told her that I had died when she wanted to hold me one more time. So she didn't know I was really alive out there, but intuitively she did. And all of a sudden we had this reconnection, this bond. And the first time we met in a restaurant, we hugged each other, and she got to hold me that one more time. And that bond has been great ever since. And I found 4 sisters and a brother that I never knew I had. The trouble is she stuck me with the restaurant bill. Just joking. But you know what? It was worth it. And that bond has been so great ever since. And I love her for that. And I love my family. And today we are so tight together. And she's a beautiful woman, a great woman. Wouldn't you like to meet her if she was here? Wouldn't you? Mom, stand up. She's here right now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. Good morning, everybody. How about another round of applause and celebration? Great. Thank you so much for sharing that incredible story and for being with us as a family this weekend. We appreciate you. We asked Ray to bring copies of his book. We know that you will want to hear more about this, and he will be out in the foyer signing these. You can buy a copy. They are normally $325 each. But today only the blue light special, $13.95. What a deal. So those are available. I have not read the whole book, but I have scanned it, and I want you to know it is incredibly readable. It's one of those books where your eye is pulled to the next sentence. And so let me encourage you to pick up a copy.